blood is going to be supplied to various parts of our body. So in this particular context, the one very important point that we cannot neglect is some of the metabolic wastes are continuously going to be generated in our body in the event of metabolism. So how does our body get rid of this unwanted things, or how does the body get rid of this metabolic waste is something which is a very important part of our excretory system. So today, let's go ahead with the chapter of excretion and osmoregulation. This is the chapter of your 11th standard NCERT textbook, and the same 11th standard your government textbook as well. Okay, so here you can see excretory products and their elimination, basically. So let us go ahead and understanding these things at length. Okay. So what exactly is excretion? Eleventh standard. Yes, this chapter is from 11th standard. Yeah, what's your doubt? Why is the T wave bulging on ECG graph? What does the T wave represent? The T wave is going to represent what, beta? Tell me. What is the significance of T wave? Yes, yes, yes. Joint one, correct? Yes, systole and diastole, yes. So that is the thing that when it is going to be the initiator, so the impulse is going to be generated from the SA node, right? So that particular impulse generation is going to be shown by your bulge. Fine. Well, so that was about the doubt of circulation, of course. So we are talking about excretion right now. So what do you mean by excretion? Excretion is the elimination of metabolic waste materials like ammonia, urea, uric acid, etc. from the body. So here you can see there are different structures associated with this particular excretion. So what are these will be dealt in the chapter of animal kingdom. So we have to focus right now on this particular part, that is going to be the kidney. Okay, so we are going to talk about the kidney, but there are going to be flame cells, there are going to be the nephrons, and different things that we're going to talk about with respect to the animal kingdom. Types of excretion, we have got 3 types of excretion, which are going to be depending upon, of course, what is the end product. So here you can see the first is ammonotelism, in which the excretory product will be ammonia. Ureotelism, wherein the excretory product would be urea. And uricotelism, wherein the excretory product would be uric acid. So there are different organisms which have adapted to different ways of eliminating the metabolic waste from their body. Now, what is the difference? Why there are 3 different types of methods of excreting the metabolic waste? Why not all are eliminating ammonia, or why all are not eliminating the uric acid? What is the reason for it? Okay, so there are several reasons for it, that why it is like that way. But if you look at the diagram, it becomes very clear that generally fish are going to be, their habitat is going to be what, beta? Fish ka habitat kya hai? Of course, water. Correct? Yeah. So they will be, in a place where there's going to be abundance of water, and ammonia is highly toxic. So it requires a lot of water for elimination. So fish can afford to directly give out ammonia because they are going to be in the water continuously. Frogs are amphibians. Okay, so they cannot be continuously present in water. So for such particular animals, wherein the water supply is there, but not continuously, they are going to give out another form of ammonia. That is going to be, ammonia will be converted into urea by various cycles, of course. And then that much of water would be, enough for the elimination of urea. On the other hand, uric acid जो है ना बेटा, it is going to be the least toxic one and it requires least amount of water. So birds cannot afford to drink a lot of water like we all do, correct? So they are going to excrete out that ammonia in the form of uric acid as pellets, right? They are going to be in the form of pellets. So minimum water is going to be used. So it depends upon the, adaptation where that particular organism survives. If that organism is going to get ample of water, it does not, it doesn't mind to go ahead with ammonotelism, okay, or ureotelism or uricotelism. So it depends specifically on where the organism is going to live. Okay. So I hope you all have understood this. Yeah. So let's talk about the ammonotelism. Types of excretion में first is ammonotelism. Process of excretion of NH3, that is what is nothing but your ammonia, correct? NH3. Ammoniotelic organisms, aquatic invertebrates, aquatic insects, bony fish, aquatic amphibians, etc. They all are going to give out their metabolic waste in the form of ammonia directly. NH3 is highly toxic, so excretion needs excess of water. NH3 is readily soluble in water and is excreted by diffusion through body surface or gill surfaces, as in case of fish, as ammonium ions. So it is going to be excreted as NH4 plus. What is ammonium ions? NH4 plus. Kidneys do not play any significant role in its removal. So अमोनिया का एक्सक्रीशन जो है उसमें किडनी का कोई भी रोल नहीं है, no use. So these organisms are the ones which are going to be, invertebrates lacking kidneys. So through their body surfaces or via the gills, the ammonia is going to be given out. So here you can see different organisms which are, showing this. So here you can see Aurelia, that is going to be the jellyfish. Though we call it as a jellyfish, it is not a fish at all. Okay, what is it? We'll talk in animal kingdom. Starfish. Though it is a fish, it is not a fish at all. What is it? Animal kingdom. A prawn. Many people eat prawns, right? We feel prawn is a type of fish. No, not at all. Prawn is not a fish. What is it? Animal kingdom. Okay, so many of these are going to be, dealt in detail as examples of animal kingdom. Then this is not going to be your wall lizard. Okay, it is not the wall lizard. It's the one which is going to be there only in waters. Okay, and bony fish. All of them are going to excrete ammonia. No, that's what I said. This is not a wall lizard. Yeah, yes. Salamander. Yes, yes. A sort of. Of course, there are there, but they are deep in the seawater. Gecko, yeah. Okay, so they all are going to exhibit what? Ammonotelism. That means release of ammonia. Fine. Then we come to ureotelism. Okay, we all belong. I mean, human beings are going to be ureotelic organisms. Right? We excrete out urea in the form of urine, of course, via the urine. So process of excretion of urea is called as ureotelism. Ureotelic organisms or animals are cartilaginous fish, bony fish, ammonotelism. Cartilaginous fish, ureotelism. बेटा इसमें है ना मार्क्स जाते हैं आप लोग के. Please be very careful with these particular small details. So cartilaginous fish are going to be ureotelic. Terrestrial and semi-aquatic amphibians like frogs, toads, etc. ureotelic. Aquatic and semi-aquatic reptiles, alligators, turtles, and the all mammals also, all are ureotelic. Okay? In liver, ammonia, which is going to be a byproduct of our metabolism, okay, will be converted into a less toxic form. That is nothing but urea. So it needs only moderate quantity of water for excretion. Yes, yes, Palak. Yes. So it's going to require very nominal amount. I won't say less, but nominal. That means not as much as that required by the ammonotelic organisms. Okay? Some amount of urea may be retained in the kidney matrix of some animals to maintain a desired osmolarity. So the osmolarity has to be maintained. That is, it's going to be, the charges, the positive negative charges have to be maintained in the matrix of the kidneys. So many a times what happens is some amount of urea would be retained, not all is going to be thrown out. Kindly focus on this point, beta, the last point. That is, some amount of urea may be retained in the kidney matrix of some animals, like we all also are going to have that, to maintain a desired osmolarity. So it's a very important part of something called as our kidney functioning, which we will look into details of this chapter as well. How is quantity of water associated? Quantity of water get for excretion? It depends on what? Toxicity. So more would be the toxicity, more would be the water required to lower down the toxicity. So uric acid is least toxic. Urea is moderately toxic and ammonia is highly toxic. So more strong would be the toxicity, more water would be required. Okay. Bony fish and cartilaginous fishes are present in water only, but there is a difference with their entire system. Like bony fishes are way different from the cartilaginous fishes, not only about the size, but kidneys and bony fishes don't know. I'll tell you about it. I'll tell about all these doubts now in the animal kingdom chapter. Okay. So the bony fish won't sink. They will never sink at the bottom. Even if they are not going to swim now, it's okay. They won't sink at the bottom of the heart, at the bottom of the sea or the water. But cartilaginous fish, अगर 1 minute के लिए भी रुक गए ना swimming करने के लिए, तो they would sink below. डूब जाएंगे वो rest नहीं ले सकते cartilaginous fishes. So why, how, and all those things will be answered in the chapter of animal kingdom. I'll explain everything in detail. Okay. Yeah, that is the fact. You want me to show the last slide? Okay. They don't sleep better. They cannot afford to take rest even for a minute. Yeah, saltness of the water. So the toxic thing remains in the ocean. No, it will get diluted. So it's going to undergo the nitrogen cycle, of course. Okay. Done with this slide? Can I go ahead? Yeah, they have to have much stamina. They have to have energy continuously. They don't take rest. They cannot take rest. They cannot afford to take rest. You know? I know it's a bit weird, but it's the fact. It's the fact. Okay. So that is about your ureotelism. Look at the structure of the urea. Okay. NH2, NH2, C double bond O. That is your urea. And you can see the organisms like cartilaginous fish, mammals like tiger, amphibians like frog, alligators, tortoise, turtles. They all are going to show ureotelism, including manna. We are also ureotelic. Please remember this. Okay. Then we come to the third one. That's going to be uricotelism. That is, uric acid is going to be formed in case of certain reptiles and birds, to be very specific. Okay, insects, reptiles, birds. Okay, so here you can see that process of excretion of uric acid is called as uricotelism. It is insoluble in water. So water is not required for excretion. So ammonia is highly soluble in water. Okay, whereas uric acid is insoluble in water. Eukaryotic organisms, insects, some land crustaceans, land snails, terrestrial reptiles, and birds. All of them are going to give out uric acid. So they give out in the form of pellets, you know. It's not a liquid discharge that these organisms are going to be giving out. They give out these excretory wastes in the form of pellets. I think majority of you all have seen the, wastes that are excreted by the birds. Crow, generally, almost all of us have seen the excretory products of the, crows and pigeons. It's going to be like a paste. It's not liquid, it's not solid, it's like a paste. Right? Lizards के भी देखे आपने? Lizards अगर है तो ना वो pellets देख के पता चलता है कि इधर lizard है करके. I don't know if you have seen. Yeah. The smell is going to be really very bad. Uric acid का smell बहुत गंदा आता है, no doubt. Ammonia का भी तो गंदा है. Of course, urea का भी गंदा ही है. I mean, you can't stand by that smell, right? The public washrooms that are used, the public ones, if you happen to just pass by that area also, you cannot take up that smell even for a minute, right? So it's a foul smelling because it's a waste. It's basically a waste, nah? Okay. Yeah. So this is what, is very important. These cockroaches, now, they continuously excrete these waste continuously. Cockroach जैसा जहां घूम रहा है ना, वहां वो excretion करते ही घूम रहा है. We cannot see that uric acid का, it's not visible. You cannot see that stream of uric acid moving. बहुत मतलब fine jet के जैसे छोड़ते जाता है वो. But continuously. So if the cockroaches are going to be, moving around the food area, it gets contaminated because of the excreta, and it's a very foul smelling excreta. Yeah, it causes diarrhea, other infections. Yes. Cockroach का मतलब excreta जो है वो continuously deposit करते जाता है जहाँ वो cockroach घूम रहा है. It's a very, exactly. So it's going to cause the food to actually, give out a very bad smell. Yeah, food poisoning hota hai na, yes. So we have to take care. इसीलिए तो ना वो outside food खाना नहीं चाहिए, because we really don't know that how hygienic that things are, Always it's better to make the things at home, because we are sure at home that the conditions are best. है ना? Cockroaches वगैरह हो गए तो immediately we take care of those pest control mechanisms and whatnot. We will not allow the cockroaches to roam around freely in our houses, right? So, एक हाथ by mistake आ गया तो उसको मतलब पकड़ के, कभी पकड़ा है कॉकरोच को हाथ में लेकर? Have you ever done that? कुरकुरे के जैसा फीलिंग आता है ना? It seems to be like कुरकुरे जो लाइव, लाइव कॉकरोच को ऐसे पकड़ेंगे ना, लॉन्ग है ना, chitin है, yes, because of chitin, very correct बच्चा, बिल्कुल correct. It's because of chitin it becomes like butterfly. Butterflies are caught many times, but if you see a big cockroach now, hold it in your hand and try to crush it. So, enjoy your lunch. It's a fact. People eat cockroaches. उसमें क्या है? Yeah, I always catch. I catch cockroaches with my hand. I don't feel anything. Yeah, kurkure na. People eat cockroaches. Actually, they eat cockroaches. They bite. They have got a biting type of mouth. Chinese, yeah. Chinese people eat cockroaches, yes. Not in general for survival and all. That is though they were showing in that Man versus Wild and all. वो तो ऐसे दिखाते हैं. I catch them the way I can. कैसे भी वो भाग रहा है तो उसको पकड़ रही हूँ मैं. उसको पकड़ के उसको खिड़की के बाहर फेंक देना है बस. मार नहीं डालती हूँ उसको. I don't actually squeeze it and kill it. And I throw it out. If at all any one of the cockroaches आता है मेरे घर पे तो I hate them, right? But people eat. You get cockroach ka pickle. Seriously, I'm not joking. And you were having your lunch, I guess. So, not in India, in China. Yes. Yeah, that too I do only. Yes, Anika. And the chapter name was already given right earlier only. Yesterday when you got the link. Cockroach soup also they drink. Yes. Yes, yes, they do. When like in Singapore and all, if you go now, you can get all those pickled bottles and everything. It is good. I don't know. Try. Cockroach instead of lemon. Try. If you are a non-vegetarian, you can try. I'm like, I don't even eat eggs, so I don't know. Master class का trip to Singapore. Tell Gaurav sir. Gaurav sir को एक बोल दो आप लोग. चलो. Crabs, हाँ, people eat crabs. I know. Crabs तो मतलब इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा खाते ही है. Non-vegetarian people के लिए it's a what we say, it's a luxury. Yeah, people eat octopus. Yes, you have tasted. Yeah, people eat all these. Yes, there are so many people. Even they eat those what we call them. यार, I forgot. Green color के होते हैं. कि lobsters and all ठीक है. Mussels भी खाते हैं. Frog भी खाते हैं. हाँ. Algae तो common है. Algae तो खाते ही. Sea cucumber, I don't know. Turtles भी खाते हैं लोग. Yes, people eat all. Small turtles खाते हैं. Even small octopus भी खाते हैं. There's so many, yeah. Grasshoppers, yeah. Grasshoppers. They fry them and they eat them. I've seen people eating them. Yes, Krishna, yes. I know. Ants also, yes. People eat ants. Fry करके. इससे अच्छा अपना चल रहा है वो सही है ना? है ना? हम लोग क्या खाते हैं? भेल, सेवपुरी, पानीपुरी, सैंडविच, पिज्जा, है ना? Better option na, than all these things. They say the flesh of dogs is very tasty, is what they say. Therefore, they kill dogs and they eat it. Why and all, I don't know. It's their way of. Yeah. You should have your lunch before, and this is not the time to have your lunch. 4:30, 5 o'clock should be your tea time. People eat human beings also. There is cannibalism. It's called as cannibalism. Nutrition, yeah. Cannibalism is there. Yeah, I have seen. Oh, that's good, Sanika. Anyway, chalo, fine. Let's come back to our cannibalism is eating human beings, or rather eating your own self. Like so cats are also showing cannibalism. They eat cats. Allowed to eat humans? No, nowhere it is allowed to eat. But in the remote jungles and all, there is cannibalism which exists. That is your choice, but like some people love non-vegetarian food, some people love vegetarian food. That's your own choice. Again, as the when we started with our sessions in the living world, I think so. I told you about this now. Okay, some people will say I love vegetarian food. Some will say I love non-vegetarian food. At the end of the day, what is it? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and lipids. Nothing else, right? पनीर टिक्का, ये अभी सारे वेज वाले डिश आ गए. वो तुम लोग डिश के नाम ढूंढते रहो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. दैट इज योर विल एंड विश. Stuck in another, they have written other. Yeah. They have to sometimes. Yes, bacha. Yes, Jaya. So yeah. For though I teach all these things, like it's everything in the mind. Ultimately, our body cannot distinguish between proteins from egg and proteins from sprouts and all. I do agree. Okay. But somewhere down the line, I do agree that I cannot stand by the smell of the non-vegetarian food. So it's, you know, my choice. It doesn't mean that someone has forced me. It's my choice. You're in Vileparle, na, Shwet? Yeah. Tomorrow I'm coming to Borivali. Borivali offline lecture hai kal mera. Okay. So Borivali students, we can meet tomorrow. From start, you don't have? Yes. From start, I have never eaten. From my birth, I've never tasted, I've never eaten, but somehow I did not have the liking also to eat. I mean, I've got so many friends who eat, but I never had a liking. I'll come. For tomorrow, I'm going to come to the Vileparle as well. Don't worry. I'll come. Tomorrow, I'm saying tomorrow, one day, 1:30 to 3, I guess, I'm coming to Borivali Center. I'll come everywhere. You will be informed today. You will be informed. I'm telling you. Tomorrow, 1:30 to 3, I'm going to come for offline session at Borivali. Okay, I'm going to be available in Rustamji. I'm going to come. I'm going to take the way, you know, like whatever I have taught, I'm going to take a revision and interaction and some, you know, more facts and details about certain topics. Yes. Okay. So tomorrow we'll be meeting in person. Okay. So let's come back to Uricotelism. I'll come, Baba. Don't worry. I'm going to come everywhere. Now I've started. Yeah, I'm going to come to Vileparle as well. I'm going to come everywhere. Don't worry. Maths. Oh my God. No. When I come, I'll be teaching you bio only. Don't worry. Okay. I'm going to come. That's for sure. From this week, even I've started. I mean, I'm moving out anyways. But for masterclass, I'm going to come from this week. So generally Thursdays would be my days. Thursday afternoon time, I'd be making myself available. Okay. No another lockdown. I don't feel there's going to be any lockdown. Rather, I feel that there is a, you know, like a blessing in disguise, I would say. So when I meet tomorrow, Omicron ka hi, when I meet tomorrow, I'll tell you that how is it a blessing in disguise. Yeah. So anyways, आज हम लोग यूरिकोटेलिज्म पे बात करते हैं बेटा. Whenever I'll come to the centers, kindly keep your doubts ready and whatever chapter, you know, and we'll be doing everything in detail with some more facts added to it. Okay. Well, so that is uricotelism. Now we go ahead with very important point. बच्चा ये point जो है ना, ये actually animal kingdom के लिए ज़्यादा related है, but I've made this you know, a very simple chart for you all to remember, and I expect you all to learn this, because this will come as match the following in your NEET examination. So the name of the excretory organ would be protonephridia or flame cells, which is seen in organisms like platyhelminthes, rotifers, annelids, and cephalochordates. So what are all these now? I'll tell in animal kingdom chapter, but in short, I'll tell you these are your invertebrates. Okay. So platyhelminthes are going to be your flatworms. Okay. Rotifers are also small worms only. Annelids is going to be your example of annelid is earthworm. Okay. Cephalochordata is going to be, you know, like the one which are going to be having the notochord present. Okay, I'll talk about all these. Nephridia is the excretory organ present in annelids like leech. Or you know this leech, पता है आपको? Hirudina. Leech के बारे में सुना है? Leech therapy होती है. Though leeches are very small worms actually. Yeah. They are black segmented. Yes. You know what, in Ayurveda, in Ayurvedic sciences, this leech is applied for, you know, skin infections. It sucks blood, yeah, but it is, you know, specifically going to suck only the toxic blood. Very good, Vaishnavi. Yes, beta. They are the ones who will suck only the toxic blood. That is, impure blood will be taken up by the leech. And you know what? They are so small and they'll become the size of a cucumber. इतने बड़े हो जाते हैं वो, लंबे चौड़े मोटे हो जाते हैं, उतना वो ब्लड सक करते हैं. And if you try to you know, pull them, they'll leave their sucking organs in the skin only, and they'll get detached. Yeah, they are used for skin disease. Yes, 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 for curing the skin diseases. So that is called as your leech treatment in Ayurveda, a very famous one. Anyway, so they'll be having nephridia for their excretion. Malphizian tubules are going to be the excretory organs present in insects. Antennal glands, also called as green glands, are present in crustaceans like prawns. So prawns are crustaceans basically. Kidney, of course. We all are going to have what? Kidney. Okay. That is their food. That is their food. Okay. They get attracted to that particular taste and smell. That is their food. So they'll only take up the toxic blood, not the good blood. Okay. So protonephridia, nephridia, Malphizian tubules, green glands, and kidney. So we are going to be focusing on the kidney part because we are talking about the excretion and osmoregulation with respect to humans. So we are going to focus on which one? The kidney. ठीक है? लेकिन ये वाला चार्ट बेटा अच्छी तरह से पढ़ लेना. It's going to be very important for you all in your NEET examination for match the following. So if this year, in the year 2022, this particular question is not going to be asked, then for sure it's going to be asked for your you know, exam. So kindly be prepared. Okay. Then we go to the next one, that is human excretory system. Now here you can see actually the two kidneys along with certain accessory segments which are going to be helping in excretion. Okay. How is that possible, Shwet? Okay. So human excretory system, beta ye jo photograph hai na, ye actual photograph hai na. This is a true photograph taken. It is not a diagram. It's not a drawing. Drawing आगे के slide पे दिखाई देगा. This is an actual photograph that you can see. So human excretory system is going to be made up of a pair of kidneys. You can see the position of the kidney. One is a bit on the upper side and the other is bit on the lower side. Dekha? Yeah, exactly. A pair of ureters. Yes, 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 Sanika. Very good, beta. Perfect. Very true. A pair of ureters. So you can see a pipeline that is moving from the kidney to reach the urinary bladder. So urinary bladder is a sac-like you know, structure which is temporarily going to store the urine. So urine would be formed where? Inside the kidneys. It will be taken out via the ureters to deposit inside the urinary bladder for some time. Okay. Now this urinary bladder will get filled up by continuous pouring of the urine. Then the urinary bladder is going to have stretch receptors present on it. So when the bladder becomes not even full, almost less than half, the stretch receptors are going to be, you know, getting stretched, which will cause a sensation of urination, which is called as micturition. Okay, sensation of urination को क्या कहते हैं हम? Micturition. आगे दिया है मैंने, of course, which will cause the urine to pass out through the urethra. Okay, so this is going to be the 4 important structures associated with human excretory system. Okay, ureters from behind to front of the bladder. Yes, yes, correct. 3D view. Yes, yes, it's a 3D, yeah, 3D view of the image. This is called as your sonic imaging. So this gives this type of image. Okay, got it? Well, Then this is the diagram. Okay, same one, but now I'm going to talk with respect to the diagram. So here you can see the diagram. This is your inferior vena cava. Now you know inferior vena cava is going to contain कौन सा blood बेटा? बोलो बोलो. Yes, very good. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. Deoxy. So blue color में represent किया है देखो, है ना? So definitely what is going to happen? Whatever blood is going to be coming out from this particular point is going to be called as hilum. I'll talk about it, of course. So whatever blood will be given out is going to be the deoxygenated blood, which will enter into the inferior vena cava. Okay, from inferior vena cava, it will go to which particular part? Come on, now let me see if you remember circulation chapter. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava will empty their blood into. Very good, very good, very good. Yes, very nice. All of you all are correct. From the right atrium, the deoxygenated blood will enter into. Very nice, very nice. Yes, excellent. All answers are correct. From the right ventricle, it will be passed into dash. Not lungs directly, beta. Via something they'll be carried to the lungs. Excellent, excellent. Yes, Sadhika, Zui, correct. Others. Bhumi, correct. Sanika, correct. Ansh, now you're right, beta. Yes, Vaishnavi, very good. Yes. So this from the right ventricle, it will pass through the pulmonary artery to reach the lungs. Okay. In the lungs, it will get oxygenated, correct? So there will be diffusion of oxygen with 104 mm Hg pressure in the alveoli to 94 to 96 mm Hg in the blood, right? Fine. Then what is going to happen next, bacha? Then what is the next thing? The next thing, what is going to happen? The oxygenated blood. Very good, Zui. I'll check. Okay. It will reach the. Very nice. Yes, Siddhika. So from the pulmonary veins, it is going to reach the left atrium. From the left atrium, kahan jayega? Bolo. Oxygenated blood from left atrium will go where? Oye, Sanika. Left atrium से कहाँ जाएगा? हाँ, very good, Arpita. Very good. So from left ventricle, it will reach. Yes, it's going to reach the aorta. And from the aorta, कहाँ जाएगा बेटा blood? Where is it going to go? Entire body. Excellent. So I am very happy that you all are answering the questions precisely of circulation chapter. मतलब तुम्हें समझा भी है और शायद तुमने रिवीजन भी किया है ऐसे लग रहा है. Good बेटा. I am very happy. Keep it up. I want these type of answers फटाफट से from all of you all. Excellent. Very nice. So in this way, the oxygenated blood will now reach the rest of the body. So it's going to now reach via this particular. What is this? This is going to be your dorsal aorta. जहां से फिर ये artery निकलेगी and artery will carry oxygenated blood to the kidney. Correct? So kidney is going to get supplied with oxygenated blood. Okay. So this is the specific, like structure or part of the kidneys, pelvis medulla cortex, जो आगे के इसमें दिया है मैंने. This is in the, like cut section of the kidney. This is the entire one. Okay. So ये देखो. This is your renal artery, right? Renal vein, kidney. This is going to be the ureter, urinary bladder, urethra. And here you can see the kidneys are wearing a snow cap. नहीं लग रहा है? एक snow cap पहना है देखो ये kidneys ने. So what is this snow cap? It's a gland called as adrenal gland. What is the name of the gland? Adrenal gland. Okay. So all these make up our human excretory system, basically. Is it fine? Understood? Well, what is the structure? Structure of kidney. It is reddish brown bean-shaped structure enclosed in a tough 3-layered fibrous capsule. So here in the diagram, you can very well see this is the fibrous capsule over here. You can see it is situated between the levels of last thoracic and third lumbar vertebrae. So this is the position that they have shown in this man. See, ये अपना back side जो है ना, vertebral column का, तो they are situated between the last thoracic. ये है last thoracic and third lumbar. This is the position. See. So this is how it looks like. The placement, uska address. Where is the address of the kidneys? Length is around 10 to 12 centimeters. Width is around 5 to 7 centimeters. And thickness is around 2 to 3 centimeters. Average weight is around 120 to 170 grams. Fine. Ab yahan par, in this diagram, you can, yeah, they are small. Yes. Here you can see in the diagram very clearly, fibrous capsule, hilum. What is hilum? Hilum is going to be a fold, an opening through which the renal artery and the renal veins can enter, and renal pelvis, this thing, apna ureters can come out. Okay, so it's a common area from where there is entry and exit of, yeah, entry and exit of all the pipelines. So kidney के अंदर और किडनी के बाहर जितने भी पाइपलाइंस है ना, वो सारे कहाँ जाते हैं? हाइलम के थ्रू अंदर जाते हैं. Both on both the sides. Both. Got it? Understood their location? Then the next is on the concave side of the kidney, there is an opening, that's the hilum or hilus, through which blood vessels, nerves, lymphatic ducts, ureters enter the kidney. Okay? So all of them are going to be entering into the kidney via a common opening called as hilum, or it's called as hilus. Both are okay. Any difficulty in understanding these points till now? Anybody having any doubts? Clear? Good. Yes, beta. Then on the hilum, the same point, then they are saying the hilum is going to be leading to a funnel-shaped cavity called as renal pelvis with projections called as calyces. Now, please understand the internal structure of the kidney. Very, very, very important. Okay. So in the diagram, you can see over here, look at the diagram. Here we have got the renal capsule. Okay. ये जो है बाहर वाला जो है renal capsule है. When you take a cross section of this, then what would you see? You can see cortex, which is towards the periphery. Can you see this cortex? It is going to be towards the periphery. Then you can see medullary pyramids. ये दिख रहा है बेटा? ये वाला जो fan के जैसा, triangles के जैसा. So that is going to be called as medullary pyramids because these are pyramidal shape and present below the cortex. So the area below the cortex will be called as medullary area. Okay, so because these triangular shaped or pyramidal shaped structures are present in this medullary region, we call this pyramids as what? Medullary pyramids. Okay, then look at this word major calyces. ये देखो major calyces. Major calyces का मतलब क्या होता है? See, if I hope you all can see my hand very clearly, है ना? तो ये जो अपना palm area है ना, this palm area is the major calyx, and the fingers are going to be the minor calyx. So the branches which are going to be coming out of the major calyx would be called as minor calyx. Okay? So major calyces, calyx is singular, calyces is plural. Trunk jaisa, yes, branching, yes, yes. Okay, so see, here you can see the major calyces. So this is one major calyce dividing into 1, 2, and 3. Another major calyce divided into 1 and 2. Correct? And look at these minor calyces. Find branches of each of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minor calluses are seen in this diagram. समझ में आ रही है बात? Now, here you have got something called as the renal columns. What are those? I'll explain later on, no doubt. And look at this renal artery. बाहर से कैसे दिख रही थी? एक ही पाइपलाइन अंदर आ रहा है ऐसा दिख रहा था. And once it is inside, it has started to branch. See? Correct? And the branches are literally coming up to the cortex. Agreed? Samjha? And look at this. This is going to be the ureter. So don't you think minor calluses will form major calluses, and major calluses will unite to form a broad area, that is the mouth of the ureters, which will then come down as ureter. समझा है कैसे दिख रहा है वो? Internal structure of kidney समझ में आ रहा है बेटा? The entire region from which minor calluses arise is known as major calluses. Yes, yes, yes. Correct. Just like our palm and our fingers. ठीक है? Minor calyx, major calyx, cortex, medullary pyramids, renal artery, renal pelvis, ureters. Yes, the collection is going to move downwards. Yes, via the ureters, the urine is going to then move downwards. So इतना तो समझा कि minor calluses में urine का entry हो जाएगा. मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ बन जाएगा. Entry हो जाएगा. बनने वाला है कहीं और जगह पर. I'll explain where. So the urine is going to be poured into this minor calluses. All the minor calluses will join to form the major calluses. Major calluses will then lead to the ureter, through which this urine will be then collected in the urinary bladder. Yes, Bhumi, you are right. You are right, beta. Bilkul correct. Bilkul correct. Okay. Any doubts, any difficulties in understanding till here? Anyone? Come on. They are not going to form, but they are going to be there in between. Who is going to form urine? I'm going to talk about it. Okay? Okay. Then, a kidney has outer cortex, inner medulla. As I said just now, the medulla has few conical projections called as renal pyramids or medullary pyramids projecting into the calluses. So this is what I was talking about, that triangular shape structures of the pyramids are directed towards the minor calyx, right? And then cortex extends in between the medullary pyramids as renal columns called as columns of Bertini. Now this is something very important. Cortex extends in between the medullary pyramid. So here you can see these are the two medullary pyramids. See, this is one medullary pyramid. This is another medullary pyramid. And you can see this cortical region is coming in between the two medullary pyramids. These columns are called as columns of Bertini. It was found out by the scientist called as Bertini. So these columns are called as what? Columns of Bertini. So what are columns of Bertini? The extended cortex sandwiched between the two renal pyramids. Understood what are columns of Bertini? Columns of Bertini, yes, yes, yes. Columns of Bertini. Okay, got it? So this is again a very common question that they ask you, that columns of Bertini are present between. They are present between two adjacent medullary pyramids, which is nothing but the cortex which has come down to get sandwiched between these two structures. So there are so many, see in this diagram only you can see so many. Renal column दिखाई दे रहा है बेटा? Circle किया है renal column, column of Bertini. ठीक है? हाँ, yes. Now, this is the structure of the kidney. You know, like these diagrams are actually taken from your MBBS textbook. But this will give you a very clear idea about, you know, what exactly it is. So, So बाहर से ये ऐसे दिखता है. Internally, you can see this cortex, medullary pyramid, major calyx, minor calyx, and columns of Bertini. And here, when you actually zoom this particular pyramid ना, एक pyramid को तुम जब zoom करते हो ना, तो तुम्हें ये nephrons दिखाई देते हैं. तो what is that? वो अभी हमें आगे देखना ही है. You want to see what is a nephron after. So ये medullary pyramid को हमने क्या किया? Zoom किया. So when you zoom the medullary pyramids, now you can see we have shown only 2 over here, but there are many in numbers. How much I'll tell you. So we can see nephron. So see, each kidney has nearly 1 million tubular nephrons. 1 million tubular nephrons. Oh my God. Okay. Right? Yes, Sanika, you're right. You're right. Okay, now. कितने हैं नेफ्रॉन्स देखो 1 मिलियन ईच किडनी. तो इधर हमने 2 ही शो किए हैं. Nephrons are the structural and functional units of kidney. That means they are the ones who are actually going to bring about the process of excretion. So when we say kidney is doing it, technically speaking, it is the nephrons which is doing it. Ayana? Structural and functional. Yes. Urine formation in the nephron. Yes. Okay. So nephrons are the structural and functional units of kidney. Each nephron has 2 parts, glomerulus and renal tubule. देखो renal का मतलब होता है associated with kidney. तो kidney का tubule and glomerulus ऐसे 2 parts में nephron divide होता है. Now this glomerulus is what? And renal tubule is what is something that we have to understand. Okay, but if you look at this particular one, I mean, this is a very beautiful diagram. इसीलिए यही diagram वापस है आगे, of course. तो ये अगर 2 nephrons के पास तुम लोग ध्यान देते हो, so see, this is one nephron, this is another nephron, and both are connected to a common tube. Can you see this? This is a common tube. This common tube is going to be called as collecting ductule. That means one nephron will ensure urine formation and it will discharge that urine in this collecting tubule. वैसे इधर से और एक नेफ्रॉन अटैच्ड है, और एक अटैच्ड है, इधर से भी अटैच्ड है, इधर से भी अटैच्ड है, इधर से भी अटैच्ड है. तो सारे नेफ्रॉन्स ये कलेक्टिंग ट्यूब्यूल के साथ अटैच्ड है, बहुत सारे. वैसे बहुत सारे कलेक्टिंग ट्यूब्यूल्स हैं. So one collecting tubule is going to be attached to almost 6 to 8 different nephrons. So we have got 1 million nephrons. So you can imagine the number of collecting tubules kitne honge. And then the collecting tubules will join together. Right? They will further pass on that particular collected urine to something else, then to something else. So ये passing the parcel हो रहा है. But basically urine formation कौन करा रहा है? Nephron करा रहा है. Nephron, yeah, they are only going to be present in the pyramids. Yes. Okay. This entire yellow portion ना बेटा is the renal tubule. This entire yellow color का जो दिख रहा है ना, that is the renal tubule. और ये जो red color का part दिख रहा है, that is glomerulus. Okay. So glomerulus is actually the blood. And उसके नीचे ये जो पूरा brown plus yellow है, that is going to be the renal tubule. Very good, Sanika. Very good, Sanika. You have got it right. You got it right. Okay. So this is the way the nephron is going to be. So we're going to talk in detail about the nephron now. Of course. See. Yeah. That right part, red color part was the nephron. Okay. I mean, entire nephron is going to be made up of 2 parts. Now, that is what they are saying. Glomerulus and renal tubule. Right part, left part नहीं बेटा, ये पूरा का पूरा जो है ये पूरा एक nephron ही है. This entire one is going to be one nephron which is connected to the collecting tubule. Okay, but each nephron is having 2 parts. The red part which is called as glomerulus and the yellow part which is going to be called as the tubule. Okay, yeah. So of that particular 2 parts, we are focusing on one part which is glomerulus. ठीक है. ये देखो बेटा, ये जो glomerulus है, what is it exactly? So glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries formed by afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole is a branch of renal artery. So we saw the descending aorta was giving out renal artery. Renal artery, after entering via the hilus, was branching into capillaries. So these capillaries have now, united to form this glomerulus. So it's a tuft, means it's a collection of the afferent arteriole, which is nothing but group of renal arteries. Okay. Blood from the glomerulus is carried away by the efferent arteriole. अब afferent and efferent, ये दो words बहुत important है. So look at this. Afferent arteriole से blood kidney के nephron के अंदर के तरफ आ रहा है, and efferent is taking it away from the nephron. So there are two pipelines, one to bring the blood inside, one to give the blood outside. Yes, Siddhika, very correct. Look at the sizes. Afferent arteriole is broad, efferent is narrow. Why? आगे समझेगा. And this is going to be your glomerulus. So it's the entire network of blood capillaries. Okay. And कहाँ आए हैं वो देखो. Don't you think they are brought in a cup-like structure? So this cup-like structure is a part of your renal tubule. And this broad cup-like structure will be called as Bowman's capsule. So ये capsule के जैसा है, एक cup के जैसा है, जिसको हम क्या कहते हैं? Bowman's capsule. Afferent is entry, efferent is exit. Yes, very well said, Bhumi. Very well done. Yes. Fine. So you can see this cup-like structure has got a small neck-like structure. Extension here. This extension will be called as your PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. So we'll talk about this structure eventually, but as of now. Funnel type Bowman's capsule. Yeah, funnel bolo, cup bolo, whatever. Okay. So please understand, beta, from the heart, the blood is carried via the aorta, which will reach the hilus as renal artery. The artery will then divide to form the capillaries. The capillaries will now unite to form a tuft of capillaries called as afferent arteriole, which will carry the blood into this cup-like structure called as the Bowman's capsule. Okay? Yeah, Palak, you're right, beta. You're right. Understood till here? Any difficulty? Any doubts in understanding this? Till here, all of you all have understood? Yeah, exactly. That is the reason I have taken these two chapters together. Na? Why is it double wall? For efficient filtration. Okay, for efficient filtration. Filtration is the very important part of formation of urine. तो यहाँ तक समझा सबको? Okay. Then we come to the second part of the nephron, that is renal tubule. So the renal tubule continues with the proximal convoluted tubule, that is called as PCT, Henle's loop or loop of Henle as we call, and distal convoluted tubule or DCT. Henle's loop is a hairpin shaped. It has descending and ascending limbs. So please focus on this diagram now. It's a very simple one. ये देखो, इधर देखो बेटा, ध्यान देना. ये अपना Bowman's capsule है. Bowman's capsule के अंदर ये tuft of capillaries, that is glomerulus, अंदर चला गया. No, it is not going to get entangled. It's a very synchronized portion. Okay. Fine. No. Vasa recta is not here, beta. वो बाद में आएगा. So here you can see this is broader one, that is afferent arteriole, which is moving inside this Bowman's capsule. Okay, the yellow part. Now this Bowman's capsule is going to have this particular neck region, and then you have got this tubule, which is going to be called as proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal means near to. Distal means away from. So the one which is near to the glomerulus will be called as proximal. Convoluted का मतलब है twisted. You can see ना, इतना अच्छा twisted है ये पूरा. Okay, so it is proximal convoluted tube है, इसलिए tubule. Okay, now here you can see at this particular point you can see that अब ये जो convolutions है वो straight हो गए. They are no more convoluted, it is going straight. So this point will be called as loop of Henle ka beginning, and it is going down. So this is called as the descending limb of the loop of Henle. तो ये देखो ये descend हो रहा है. Descend means to come down. Then this is your U-shaped loop. Then this is the ascending limb of the loop of Henle. Here the loop of Henle ends. Why we say it ends? Because now again the convolutions have started. Twisting वापस से start हो गया. But ये glomerulus से कितना दूर है देखो. Therefore this tube will be called as distal convoluted tubule. So proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, and distal convoluted tubule. PCT, DCT is the short form, and in between we have got this loop of Henle. Loop of Henle has got two arms, descending arm, ascending arm. And finally, this DCT is going to get connected to the collecting tubule. Now, this collecting tubule will lead to the urinary bladder via dash, dash, and dash. What is that? I'll tell you later. Okay. Henle's loop, I'll talk about it. Each and everyone has got a very important function, better. Okay. Yeah, limbs are thin as compared to the tubule. Yes, Vichar. I'm going to talk about all of them. Transportation. Yes, it is going to be transportation, but some amount of, things are going to happen over there also. So what are those? Will be seen in ultrafiltration and tubular secretion. That will come in the functional part of the tubules. Okay. Well, any difficulty till now? Structure समझा बेटा nephron का. Nephron is made up of two things, glomerulus and renal tubule. Okay. Going to enter the Bowman's capsule. Yes, Vaishnavi. Yes, Vacha. Correct. They'll enter in the Bowman's capsule in the form of afferent artery. And they'll leave the Bowman's capsule in the form of efferent artery. ठीक है? Okay. आगे जाओ. I'll move ahead. Okay. Then now we talk about the collecting duct that I was talking about. The DCTs of many nephrons open into the collecting ducts. Vein अभी नहीं दिखाई देगा, आगे आएगा. Where is the vein? Vein का अभी कुछ काम नहीं है. Okay, आगे आएगा. So here are going to be your collecting ducts, and all the collecting ducts में ये यहाँ पर if you look at it, there are openings. See. So several DCTs will get connected to these collecting ducts, and collectively the urine which has been formed will be passed through the collecting ducts to finally reach the urinary bladder. है ना? Then see collecting duct. Now you will get the answer to this. कि ये कैसे जा रहा है? You will get the answer to this. The collecting duct extends from the cortex to the inner part of medulla. Now, but here in this diagram, now please focus. This upper part is going to be your cortex, and this lower part is going to be the medulla of the pyramid. ये देखो, ये pyramid है. Pyramid को हमने क्या किया? Zoom किया. So when we zoom the pyramid, you can see almost 1/4 part is cortex and 3/4 part is medulla. If it is a straight tubule, we will drink continuously thousands of liters of water and excrete out thousands of liters of water. If it was a straight tube. Okay, so it's going to be the more the convoluted, better would be the output. You will come to know. Well, so this is going to be your cortex and this is going to be your medulla. Please look at it. The cortical regions are going to have glomerulus. The cortical region is going to have PCT. The loop of Henle moves into the medulla. The DCT again comes into the cortical region, and Collecting tubule is partially present in the cortex and finally into the medulla. Can you see this? Huh? So what are they saying? See, collecting duct extends from the cortex. So यहाँ से collecting duct start हो गया. Okay. To the inner parts of the medulla. It is moving to the medullary region. They converge, means all these collecting ducts will converge. Okay. They'll make a cone-like structure together and open into the renal pelvis through medullary pyramids. Okay, so here in this diagram, you can see the renal pelvis over here. Correct? And you can see the pyramids over here. So via the pyramids, the urine will reach the renal pelvis. Correct? Okay. Malphigian body, PCT, DCT are situated in the renal cortex. What is Malphigian body? You know, glomerulus plus Bowman's capsule is going to be called as Malphigian body. Okay. Loop of Henle dips into the medulla. Yes, that you can see. Very clearly you can see that it is dipping into the medulla. Yes, you are right, Sanika. Right? All the convolutions are in the cortex and straight tubes in the medulla. Yes, beta. Bilkul correct. Bilkul correct. Okay. Any difficulty in understanding this content? Anyone having any problem with understanding where is the cortex, where is the medulla, what all things are present in the cortex? The urine is going to reach the renal pelvis via what? See, the collecting ducts will converge, okay, and open into the renal pelvis through the medullary pyramids. So these are the medullary pyramids you can see over here, right? Okay, so the medullary pyramids are connected with the minor calyx. Minor calyx to the major calyx, and major calyx ultimately is going to be leading to the renal pelvis. Malphigian bodies को locate करना है, ये क्या? This entire thing is going to be your Malphigian bodies. The glomerulus plus the Bowman's capsule is your Malphigian body. ये वाले में देखो, here you can see this is your Malphigian body. Here is your Bowman's capsule. And this is the glomerulus. So this entire thing will be your Malphigian body. ठीक है? इधर तक okay? You understood better how the urine reaches the renal pelvis? Renal pelvis के ऊपर है मेजर कैलाइसिस, मेजर कैलाइसिस के ऊपर है माइनर कैलाइसिस, माइनर कैलाइसिस के हर एक ब्रांच के ऊपर है पिरामिड्स, है ना? पिरामिड्स के अंदर सारे कलेक्टिंग ट्यूब्यूल्स कन्वर्ज हो जाएंगे. कलेक्टिंग ट्यूब्यूल्स विल बी कनेक्टेड टू द डीसीटी. डीसीटी में यूरिन कैसे आया वो हम लोग देखने वाले हैं आगे. ऑफ कोर्स व्हाट इज रीनल कैलिक्स? ओ माय गॉड, रीनल का मतलब होता है किडनी. ओके, कैलिक्स इज दिस एरिया. मैंने बताया था ना, मेरा पाम अगर मेजर कैलिक्स है तो मेरे फिंगर्स माइनर कैलिक्स है. ओके, सो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी योर कैलिक्स. Glomerulus is a part of Bowman's capsule, then why have a separate name for something which is included in another? Because glomerulus will carry blood, tubule will carry urine, and collectively they both will be called as Malphigian body. Okay. The ready urine pours down through the minor calyces. Yes, correct. So collecting tubule will have the urine formed. That urine will be then transported in a common tube, which was going to be a part of your pyramids. From the pyramids, the tube will extend to be called as minor calyx, which will then lead to the major calyx, which will then lead to the renal pelvis, which will then lead to the ureters, which will then lead to the urinary bladder, and finally from the urinary bladder, it will be carried to the exteriors with the help of the urethra. Why is the cortex region more entangled? Because it is having the PCT and DCT. The proximal convoluted tubule and the distal convoluted tubule both are present in the cortical area. So it looks more entangled. The loop of Henle is a straight loop. So the medulla is going to contain the loop of Henle. Is there only one collecting tube in each nephron? In each nephron, many nephrons will be attached to one collecting duct. Okay, there will be many who would be attached to the same collecting duct. Have you all understood? Yeah, for one nephron, one collecting duct ka opening रहेगा. Yes. Anything else, beta? If you have not followed, bolo. Tell me. Understood? Now we talk about this nephron. Please pay attention to this now. The efferent arteriole emerging from the glomerulus. See, afferent was entering into the Bowman's capsule and efferent is emerging out of it. Okay, forms a fine capillary network around the renal tubule. So here someone was asking me, यहाँ पर कहीं पर भी हमें ये नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है क्या? Veins नहीं दिखाई दे रहे. So I'll tell you now about the veins. Okay. So here you can see that the efferent arteriole, see, this is going to be the efferent arteriole, which is coming out, which is then going to form a complete peritubular capillaries around the tubules. So PCT, DCT, loop of Henle, सबके ऊपर ये capillaries की network तुम्हें दिखाई दे रहा है बेटा? So these network of capillaries is going to be called as vasa recta. So what exactly is vasa recta? The efferent arteriole emerging from the glomerulus forms a fine capillary network around the renal tubule. The minute vessels of this network runs parallel to the loop of Henle, forming a U-shaped vasa recta. Okay, so you can see this vasa recta, which is moving parallel to the loop of Henle. ये देखो, ये loop of Henle को parallel है आपका vasa recta. हाँ, ठीक है, समझा? ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आगे काउंटर करंट मैकेनिज्म मुझे तुम्हें पढ़ाना है. काउंटर करंट मैकेनिज्म के टाइम पे यही वाला पार्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, मतलब पॉइंट्स इधर ही है सारे. सो योर लूप ऑफ हेनली is having a descending limb, a loop, and the ascending limb, correct? Right? So see, this is going to be the descending limb, this is the loop, and this is the ascending limb of loop of Henle. It's going to have what? It's going to be covered with vasa recta, that is the efferent arteriole will now branch out. And see, look at this. Ascending limb of Henle के बाजू में डिसेंडिंग लिम्ब ऑफ वासा रेक्टा है बेटा. तो लूप ऑफ हेनले जब नीचे जा रहा है तो वासा रेक्टा में से ब्लड ऊपर जा रहा है. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट मैं बहुत बता रही हूँ. प्लीज पे अटेंशन टू इट. When the loop of Henle, the descending loop of Henle is going to be, moving downwards, the vasa recta is moving upwards. And when the loop of Henle is ascending, the vasa recta is descending. So they are going to be in the opposite form, though parallel to each other. Did you all understand this, whatever I have said? Have you all understood? Descending limb of loop of Henle and ascending limb of loop of Henle के बिल्कुल opposite होता है वासा रेक्टा का blood flow. So वासा रेक्टा इधर नीचे जा रहा है, जबकि लूप ऑफ हेनली इधर ऊपर आ रहा है ना? फिर वासा रेक्टा ऊपर जा रहा है जबकि लूप ऑफ हेनली नीचे आ रहा है. This is the most important point for urine formation. This is very important point. So have you all understood this point very clearly? that though vasa recta and loop of Henle are parallel to each other, the direction of movement of the contents of these are exactly opposite. That is called as counter current method or counter current mechanism, जो आगे यही chapter में आगे मुझे तुम्हें पढ़ाना है. So it will be very like easy once you remember this fact. What is the fact? Loop of Henle and vasa recta are parallel to each other, but the contents of both of them move in opposite direction. So loop of Henle में जो यूरिन बन रहा है वो ऊपर से नीचे, नीचे से ऊपर जा रहा है. करेक्ट. एंड जो efferent arteriole है वो पहले नीचे जाता है और फिर ऊपर आ रहा है, अपोजिट डायरेक्शन. Is it fine? Understood this? Very important point. Okay. Well, then we come to something called as what are the two types of nephrons. So we have got two types of nephron: cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephron. So what is the difference between them? See, cortical nephrons, which are almost 85% of the nephrons, are cortical nephrons. In this, the Henle's loop is short and extends only very little into the medulla. Vasa recta is absent or highly reduced. Okay. On the other hand, the second one is the juxtamedullary nephrons, which are only 15% of the total nephrons. In this, Henle's loop is long, runs deep into the medulla, and vasa recta is present. So if you look at these two diagrams, you can very well see, ये देखो, ये cortical nephron है. So this is going to be the medullary region, but they are not dipping deep into the medullary region. But look at this, juxtamedullary nephron, the loop of Henle is quite below. But look at this, collecting tubule देखो, चाहे वो cortical nephron का collecting duct रहे या juxtamedullary nephron का collecting duct रहे, both are going to be connected to what? The renal papillae. Renal papillae are your pyramids ke papillae, pyramids ke structures, into which they'll be pouring the urine, which will open into the minor calyx to major calyx to renal pelvis. Okay, yeah, juxtamedullary. Yes, beta. The diagram which we saw in the previous slide was juxtamedullary nephron, where the vasa recta was very nicely formed. In cortical nephrons, vasa recta का इतना importance है नहीं. ठीक है? Understood the two types of nephron, cortical and juxtamedullary nephron. Juxta का मतलब होता है sandwiched in between. So this nephron is sandwiched between cortex and medulla, इसलिए उसको juxtamedullary बोला है. Okay. Now this is again a diagram which will give you a very good idea. So this is going to be your kidney. Okay. When we zoom this, we can see this renal pyramid. यहाँ पर है. Here you can see the nephron. This is the cortex. This is the medulla. Okay. When you zoom this, you can see it very nicely. Please pay attention to whatever diagram I'm showing right now. It's very crucial for you all to understand. Look at it. Afferent arteriole से blood glomerulus के through enter किया. Efferent के through बाहर आया. Correct? Now if you see this efferent arteriole अब तक red है. Now it became blue. Can you see? It is, like, yeah, it is moving on to the loop of Henle. ये vasa recta बना है ना, and vasa recta का network आके ultimately कहाँ चला गया बेटा? See, it has reached the interlobular vein. That means it is ultimately going to reach where? The inferior vena cava. Okay, so someone who had asked me that यहाँ पर vein नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है, अब समझा बेटा vein कैसे हुआ? So when the blood came out via the efferent arteriole, it was still having oxygen in it. And then when it came in contact with the PCT, oxygen diffusion इसमें हो गया, carbon dioxide diffusion इसमें हो गया, and that red color became blue one. Can you now understand that how the things have changed from red to blue? Yes. Anyone having any problem? Anyone having any difficulty? So beautifully the things are happening within you and me. See, we might have never even given a thought of it, right? कि ऐसा भी कुछ होता है, but होता है ना? Well, if you look at the collecting duct, there is no need of any veins or arteries or anything, because now the filtrate is going to be moving into the collecting duct, which is nothing but the urine. So यूरिन को ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई करना या यूरिन में से कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बाहर निकालना कुछ काम का नहीं है. तो यहाँ पर कुछ भी नेटवर्क आपको नहीं दिखाई देगा बेटा. You won't be able to see the red or the blue network at all, right? It's a waste. It will get eliminated. Okay. Rigid or elastic? It is elastic. It is elastic. Yeah. So we come to the second part, that is how the urine formation takes place. Now, again, this is a very beautiful diagram if you look at it. So, ये nephron दिखाया है उन्होंने. They have shown this. So this is going to be your Bowman's capsule, PCT, loop of Henle का descending, U shape, ascending, and DCT. This is the medullary region. Cortical region. This is going to be the medullary region. So this is physiology of kidney for urine formation. Very important point and very interesting part. That how exactly this urine formation takes place. Okay. Yeah. So let us see urine formation, process of urine formation. It includes glomerular filtration, reabsorption, and tubular secretion. So urine formation is divided into three phases. First is filtration, second is reabsorption, and third is tubular secretion. Means the DCT, PCT are going to secrete something. Okay, so all these three collectively will result in the formation of urine. समझ में आ रही है बात? हाँ, कोई डिफिकल्टी है बेटा? किसी को कोई पॉइंट नहीं समझा हो? This diagram is also very self-explanatory in itself. You can see this is going to be the Bowman's capsule. It is containing the glomerulus. Can you see white color के ऐसा कुछ उसके ऊपर ऐसा एक pinkish whitish color का कुछ ऐसा बना है, देखो इसके ऊपर. See this, see this. Can you see this? Like a spring-like thing which is holding those, capillaries tightly. Can you see this? Let us see what is that, and let us understand everything that ये diagram actually क्या है. Okay. No, it is not the filter. I'll tell you what it is. Okay. Yeah. Please pay attention. Glomerular capillary blood pressure causes filtration of the blood through the three layers. The first layer is going to be called as endothelium of glomerular blood vessels. Means your blood capillaries which are entering inside the Bowman's capsule, उसका जो layer है उसको हम कहते हैं endothelium. Second, epithelium of Bowman's capsule means the renal tubule का cup-like structure. That is going to be what? Epithelium of Bowman's capsule. And third, basement membrane between these two layers. So even in breathing and exchange chapter, we had seen that there is a basement membrane between the capillary wall and the alveolar wall. Do you remember that? Alveoli के wall और capillary wall के बीच में I had shown the basement membrane. So even over here, between the capillary and the Bowman's capsule, there is going to be a basement membrane. So there are three membranes which are going to be involved in filtration. Wall of the glomerulus, that is the capillary wall. Wall of the Bowman's capsule, correct? And in between them, there is going to be the basement membrane. Have you all understood this? Samjha hai? Chal. Now you can see over here, the arrows are being brought down in the first diagram. Can you see? Arrows नीचे आ रहे. Arrows नीचे आएंगे तो फिर क्या होगा देखो, 10 mm Hg प्रेशर से नेट आउटवर्ड प्रेशर बाहर निकल रहा है. So what is actually happening, you know what, during यूरिन फॉर्मेशन एक्चुअली क्या हो रहा है, ये जो ग्लोमेरुलस है ना, it is going to be having blood flow with a tremendous pressure inside it. So with the pressure, the blood is going to, you know, flow through the capillaries. Now what happens here? Now this is, ये diagram will again come in the next one, don't worry. So when you look at this particular diagram, here you can see this one area looks like this. This is called as a podocyte, food processes, filtration slit, lumen of the glomerular capillary, and this is the Bowman's capsule. Now what exactly is this? I'll talk about it, don't worry. Then you can see the epithelium, the basement membrane, and the endothelium. So the filter, ऐसा इन तीनों में से ये कुछ बाहर स्क्वीज होगा, तो क्या बाहर स्क्वीज होगा वो भी देखेंगे. Okay, yeah. Pay attention. See, epithelial cells of whom, beta? Epithelial cells are going to be of the Bowman's capsule. Okay, so epithelial cells of the Bowman's capsules are arranged in an intricate manner, leaving some minute spaces called as filtration slits. Now see over here, ये जो आपको पोडोसाइट करके दिखाई दे रहा है ना, so these podocytes are nothing but they are the cells of the Bowman's capsule. So this was that yellow color का part of the tubule that we are seeing. ये जो yellow color का part है ना, इसकी बातें हो रही है. So see, this yellow color का part is actually this way. When you zoom it, you can see it like this, which is having one cell called as the podocyte, and it has got these finger-like projections which are called as what? You can see this, huh? So these are going to be your intricate manner में minute spaces छोड़ रहा है ये red color का. Okay, so these are going to be your foot processes, and between two foot processes you can see this red color का part which is the filtration slit. Okay, so what the Bowman's capsule ka epithelial cells are doing, they are holding the, or they are squeezing the capillaries with the help of what? Finger-like processes which are called as what? Foot processes. Okay, समझ में आ रही है बात? So suppose, I think you can see my bottle. Okay, let us consider this bottle to be the blood capillaries. हाँ, तो ये जो मेरे fingers आए हैं इसके ऊपर, you can see my fingers coming on it. So my fingers will be called as food processes. And you can see the gaps left in between. तो अगर मैंने इसको squeeze किया तो क्या होगा? Of course ये bottle है, bottle को squeeze करके कुछ नहीं होगा. But अगर मैंने एक porous sponge को ऐसे squeeze किया, what will happen? I have squeezed the sponge containing water. What will happen? Come on, tell me. बताओ बेटा. Exactly. Water will squeeze out, and the more I apply the pressure, more would be the force of water oozing out now. Yes, so that is going to happen over here. So capillaries is going to contain blood. इसका मतलब blood squeeze out होगा? Oh my God, no. blood ही squeeze out होता है, but blood में से RBCs and large proteins ये कभी भी इतने पतले से filtration slit में से बाहर नहीं आ पाते. So the RBCs, the WBCs, the platelets and the formed elements basically, along with large proteins, they cannot get, they cannot cross this slits and come inside the Bowman's capsule. So only what will come out? What will come out? Small proteins, electrolytes, glucose, salts, whatever. Yes, exactly. Okay. Yes, Zui, you're right. Yes, Siddhika, you're right, beta. So these all things will get squeezed out, and on squeezing, where will they enter? They will enter into the cup. What is that cup? Bowman's capsule. Did you all understand what is happening? So see, the afferent arteriole Yes, yes, Bhumi. So the afferent arteriole, which is actually bringing the blood, okay, is going to be having many capillaries. So every capillary will be surrounded by these podocytes with the food processes. And these food processes will start squeezing the capillaries, causing the liquid to ooze out. Where will it ooze out? Into the cup-like structure. And that cup-like structure is nothing but the Bowman's capsule. Did you all understand? So it's as simple as straining your tea. चाय बनाते हो, हाँ, चाय उबालते हो. Then you strain it with a strainer. Correct? So when you strain it with a strainer, what will come down into the cup? चाय पत्ती आ जाएगी या फिर only liquid portion will come? In the same way, those are your, that strainer is going to have small gaps, pores. In the same way, the Bowman's capsule ka upper wall is going to have these podocytes with the food processes, and there will be gaps in the food processes which will be called as the filtration slits. And when we squeeze that particular capillary through the filtration slits, the liquid will come into the cup. समझा कि नहीं समझा बेटा? समझ में आया कि कोई पॉइंट नहीं समझा हो? पूछो. Come on, ask me if you have not understood this. I want all of you all to understand this part very nicely. Yes. So it depends on the pore size of the slits. So not all shall come out. और अगर बहुत ज्यादा आता है ना, तो then that is the kidney का issue. Then we say that person is suffering from kidney problem. Okay. Understood this? Now tell me one thing. If the pressure is also there, yes. Oxygen will also squeeze out in the process, and that's why we saw that in efferent arteriole. Yes, bacha. Correct. Because it is going to diffuse, na? Very good, Arpita. Very nice, Peter. Very nice. Correct. So now what has happened? What has happened now? Majority of the formed elements, proteins are going to be left in the capillaries, and the liquid is going to get incorporated into the Bowman's capsule. इधर तक समझा? लेकिन सारा का सारा स्क्वीज आउट नहीं होगा, तो उसको कुछ रेजिस्टेंस मिलेगा. What do you mean by resistance? It will not allow all the liquid to fall down. So what prevents? How is it not going to be, like entire liquid coming down? We're going to talk about it. But as of now, did you all understand the first thing about urine formation, that is glomerular filtration? कैसे हो रहा है? So what exactly is glomerular filtration? Have you all understood? So glomerulus is going to be a tuft of capillaries which is entering into the Bowman's capsule. These capillaries would be squeezed with the help of the food processes of the podocytes. Okay, the squeezing will cause elimination of the liquid from the blood in the capillaries to move into the capsule, which is nothing but the Bowman's capsule. There would be a pressure exerted for the squeezing. What is that pressure? How is it going to be maintained is something that we're going to talk about it. But ab tak ki kahani samjhi? Huh? See. Epithelial cells of the Bowman's capsule are arranged in an intricate manner, leaving some minute spaces called as the filtration slits or the slit pores, as we say. Here you can see this now. Very beautifully they have given. See, this is the primary process, secondary process, filtration slits, podocytes. So, ऐसे पूरे बाहर से अंदर से सब जगह से उसको ऐसा स्क्वीज कर रहा है. देखो, ये देखो ऐसे लग रहा है कि ये अपर हैंड है, ये lower hand है. So this is also going to be like you will be having many podocytes. So they will both come together and will start squeezing. Now you can imagine this. See, now you can see there are so many, like these food processes. कितने सारे हैं देखो हर एक जगह पर white color के. अब ये समझा है ना? Well, see, almost all constituents of the blood plasma except proteins pass onto the lumen of the Bowman's capsule. So here you can see This is the afferent arteriole. This is the efferent arteriole. Afferent में से blood अंदर आया. These are your proteins. Okay. Light बड़े बड़े proteins नहीं जा सकते हैं, लेकिन छोटे वाले निकल आते हैं बाहर. So see, they are getting squeezed, and these squeezed out molecules are coming into the Bowman's capsule. This is going to be called as the glomerular filtrate. And once all these things squeezed out, now the blood will be devoid of all these things. So urea hai, amino acids hai, proteins hai, glucose hai, electrolytes hai, whatever is going to be squeezed out, now the blood will not have these impurities. Okay, so the efferent arteriole में से जो blood बाहर निकल आ रहा है ना बेटा, it will not have these impurities or metabolic waste, I would say. So urea, ammonia, जो भी कुछ है ना, everything is going to move into this glomerular filtrate. Okay, they will also get squeezed out. They will also get squeezed out. The ones which are dissolved in blood will get squeezed out. Fine. About 1100 or 1200 ml of blood is filtered by the kidneys per minute. Look at the capacity. It constitutes 1/5 of the blood pumped out by each ventricle of the heart in a minute. So you already know that 5 liters of the blood is almost pumped out. So out of that, around 1000 ml is going to get filtered. So almost 1/5 is going to get filtered per minute. Kidney के ऊपर कितना pressure है देखो. हाँ, ये देखो बेटा, यहाँ पर भी उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा डायग्राम दिया है. See, it's having so much of impurities, and on squeezing they enter into the Bowman's capsule from all sides, and now the amount of impurities are much less, and still they are there, so it has to pass again and again continuously. समझा? Right? Now the amount of glomerular filtrate formed per minute is called as glomerular filtration rate, or GFR. Normal GFR is 125 ml per minute. That is 180 liters per day. So my God, imagine karo, 180 liters per day. इतना यूरिन थोड़ी ना हम लोग पास करते हैं. We cannot. Okay. So in that case, it will be very difficult for us to then sustain and survive. 1 liters of water अगर loss हो गया अपने body का, तो it is going to be very difficult. So what happens? See, yes. आधे से ज्यादा नहीं बेटा, 99% reabsorb हो जाता है. Okay. 0.18 liters, approximately that we give them. Na? Yes, correct. Now, 180 liters urine bana, but 180 liters pass out nahi hota hai. So what happens to that rest of the urine? Okay, so let us see. So the second process is going to be reabsorption. Relatively thicker. Yes, Zuri, right, beta? Yes, you're right. Because इतना पानी नीचे बह रहा है ना? Correct. Then 180 liters of glomerular filtrate is produced daily, but 99% of this is reabsorbed by the renal tubules. So the PCT, DCT is going to be reabsorbing this particular filtrate. Okay. So normal volume of urine released is only 1.5 liters. कितना कम है देखो. 180 liters किधर और 1.5 liters किधर? Hardly anything. From the filtrate, glucose, amino acids, Na+ are reabsorbed actively, and nitrogenous wastes are absorbed passively. Now you will tell कि why the nitrogenous wastes are reabsorbed. We want to eliminate them. Then why are we absorbing it again? By passive method. Why are we? In the beginning of the lecture, I had told you the reason for this. Very good, Zoe. Very good. Do you all recollect? I had told you all ये point पे ध्यान देना. Last point था उस slide का. मैंने बोला देखो बेटा, हमारे body में से भी यूरिया reabsorb होता है, retain hota hai. Do you remember? Only Zoe has understood. She is the only one who has given me the right answer. Come on, others, stress karo. Beginning of the chapter I had told you all. The beginning of the class today, I had told you all to stress on a point, which was the last point on one of the slides, that some urea is retained in our kidneys. I had told you all the reason for it. What is the reason for it? Come on. Let me see how much. Very good, Siddhika. Very good, very good, very good. So Zoe and Siddhika, only two girls are attending today's lecture. Come on, others. Good morning. Why do we require retaining of urea? Actually, see, because see, the point over here is from the filtrate, even nitrogenous wastes are absorbed passively. Don't you all remember? It was simple now to maintain the osmolarity of that. Yes, ionic balance. Very good, Bhumi. Yes. So we have to maintain the ionic balance. So to maintain that, we have to have this some amount of urea reabsorbed. Okay. Passive reabsorption of water occurs in the initial segments of the nephron. So water is also going to get reabsorbed. Okay. पानी का भी reabsorption होता है. तो इसीलिए 180 liters of urine बनता है, but 1.5 to 1.8 liters of urine is thrown out from our body. Rest, reabsorption. Okay. So here you can see this particular diagram. Please look at it. PCT cortical region में है, distal tubule भी DCDP cortical region में है. This is your loop of Henle. Look over here. You can see that bicarbonates, NaCl, water, nutrients, K+, okay, all are being reabsorbed. H+ and NH3 are also getting moved inside these tubules. Okay. In the descending limb, water is coming out into the outer medulla. Then in this loop, there is nothing. See? Then in the ascending part, NaCl is being thrown out. Again, NaCl is being thrown out. Now again, NaCl is being thrown out. Water is being thrown out. Bicarbonates is being thrown out. And K+ and H+ are getting incorporated inside this urine. Right? So maximum of these are again going to be moving out. They won't be thrown out through this collecting ducts. So through this collecting ducts, again in the collecting duct, even NaCl is going to be going out. Urea is going to go out. Water is going to go out. So even in the collecting duct, there are things which are going to go out and not pass into the pyramids or the calyces or the renal pelvis to be carried via the ureter to the bladder. So all these are again going to be, reabsorbed. They are not going to be thrown out of the body. Okay. If this osmoregulation does not take place, there will be kidney failure. For reabsorption, or all the water will flow down. Yes. So you can see this is the way it's getting time for the reabsorption of water. Correct? So in each and every segment, you can see water is getting reabsorbed. Water is getting reabsorbed. See, water is getting reabsorbed everywhere. Water is getting reabsorbed in the sense it is going to be moving out through these tubules. Tubule में अगर water जितना ज़्यादा रहेगा उतना urine formation बढ़ता जाएगा. Because ये क्या है? Whatever is squeezed out is actually the crude urine, out of which the water will be eliminated. So it will become concentrated. Okay, more concentrated, and thus concentrated urine will be thrown out of the body. Did you all understand this reabsorption? Yes. So here you can see beta, ये देखो, ये diagram में उन्होंने दिया है. In selective reabsorption, sodium, amino acid, glucose are reabsorbed from the filtrate back into the ब्लड। अब ब्लड में कैसा जाएगा वो? इफरेंट आर्टेरी हो तो चला गया आगे। हाउ विल इट एंटर द ब्लड अगेन? थोड़ा दिमाग का ये यूज करो बेटा, यूज योर ब्रेन्स। They are saying in selective reabsorption, sodium, amino acid, glucose are reabsorbed from the filtrate back into the blood. How will it enter the blood? No, it cannot reach the efferent arterioles. Very good, Siddhika. Very good, beta. Very good. Perfect answer. Diffusion, I agree, but where will they diffuse? How will they reach? Very good, Zoe. Very good, Zoe. Yes, 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 yes. Come on. Others. How will it reach the blood? Is my question. Here in this diagram, you can see that water, NaCl, HCO3, nutrients is your glucose, all is moving out of this particular tube. But where will it go? How will it enter into the blood? Afferent or efferent? Efferent to bahar chala gaya. So how will they enter? By those parallel flow of blood. Yeah. That means you're very close to my answer. Come on, Vaishnavi, you're very correct. Web of the capillaries. Yes, Bhumi, right? What is it called as? Yes, Tanika. Very nice. So, you remember vasa recta? So, this vasa recta is surrounding these tubules. So, whatever, and vasa recta is in very close proximity with these PCT, DCT. Correct? Right? So, whatever will be, like moving out of the tubule will enter into the vasa recta. Opposite flow. Correct. So it will have a pressure ना, एक ऐसे नीचे जा रहा है, कैसे ऊपर आ रहा है, तो दोनों ऐसे अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है, तो फोर्स मेंटेन होगा, प्रेशर मेंटेन होगा. करेक्ट? अंडरस्टूड व्हाट इज रीअब्जॉर्प्शन? कितना मस्त है देखो. तो स्क्वीज आउट सारा हो गया था. सो फ्रॉम द कैपिलरी, द ग्लोमेरुलर कैपिलरीज, मेनी थिंग्स वर स्क्वीज्ड आउट. But what happened in the PCT? Bicarbonates, NaCl, water, nutrients, K plus immediately got transported into the blood of the vasa recta. Correct? Huh? Then concentrated urine came into the loop of Henle. Simultaneously exchange oxygen with CO2. Yes, Vaishnavi, very good, beta. Very nice. करेक्ट ना? सो न्यूट्रिएंट एक्सचेंज हो रहा है, वैसे गैसियस एक्सचेंज भी हो रहा है. एंड नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? द सेम ट्रेंड इज सीन अगेन. Wherever there is vasa recta, immediately the contents from the tubules will enter the blood. Finally, that blood will be carried where? To the vein to reach the inferior vena cava. Got it now? Understood? So never ever we use the word purified blood. We use the word deoxygenated blood and enriched blood. So deoxygenated means CO2 aa gaya hai, but it is enriched with what? Bicarbonates, sodium, potassium, glucose, water, etc. Reabsorption samjha? Pressure concept is your counter current method. Because see, the flow of these filtrates will be in, this particular direction, while vasa recta ka blood is moving in this direction. So what is happening? In opposite direction, when the force is going to be there, then what will happen? Efficiency of exchange will increase. That is called as counter current method. Okay. Not taking, it is going to carry the blood. Yes. These pressure receptor get false signals. No, not at all. They are very much in synchronized fashion. They are going to move in opposite direction. समझ में आ गई बात? कितना मस्त है ना? PCT reabsorbs most of the nutrients, that is 70 to 80% of electrolytes and water. Simple cuboidal brush border epithelium of PCT increases the surface area for reabsorption. So maximum reabsorption is done in this PCT region, as you can see over here. Correct? Loop of Henle maintains high osmolarity of the medullary interstitial fluid. Descending limb is permeable to water, but almost impermeable to electrolytes. This concentrates the filtrate. So in the loop of Henle, you can see where they have circled in red. right? Descending limb is permeable to water, so maximum water will move out. Okay, but impermeable to electrolytes, so no electrolytes are moving out. While the ascending limb, minimum reabsorption occurs. It is impermeable to water but allows the transport of electrolytes like NaCl. So here you can see the NaCl in the ascending limb to move out. So the filtrate gets diluted. So concentrated होता है descending limb में और diluted हो जाता है ascending limb में. Because यहाँ से NaCl निकल गया ना, तो salt निकल गया तो यूरिन डाइल्यूट हो गई. ओके यहाँ से पानी चला गया इसलिए NaCl की वजह से कॉन्सेंट्रेट होगी. गॉट इट? तो वॉल्यूम कम हुआ है, नो डाउट. I'll tell you. Huh? That is there in the counter current method that I'll tell you. In DCT, that is your distal convoluted tubule में क्या हो रहा है देखो बेटा. Conditional reabsorption of Na plus and water takes place. Conditional means if required, otherwise not. Conducting duct extends from the cortex to the inner part of the medulla. It reabsorbs large amount of water to concentrate the urine. It also allows passage of small amounts of urea into the medullary interstitium to keep up osmolarity. So in this diagram, you can see the urea from the collecting duct is getting, see, moving out, okay, to maintain the osmolarity. Okay. Tubular secretion आज नहीं देखते हैं. Tubular secretion onwards we'll see in the next class. So out of the 3 processes of urine formation, we have completed 2 processes: glomerular filtration and reabsorption. Okay, so almost 5:30. So I'll stop for today and we'll continue in the next class to understand the third part, that is going to be your tubular secretions. Okay. What have I changed? I didn't see. That is fine. That is like the way I got it and the way I have made it. Okay. Chalo beta. Bye bye. See you all. And I'll see. Okay. Bye bye.